Da-da-da. Just me today. I hope that nobody minds that because it's just going to be me. No one else. Trust me. Why would you want all the personality you ever need? The bracket. Slow King and Vochi versus Melee 461 and Shroud are up first. Vochi. I don't know if that's out. Multiple trouts. Off to a great start. Only 40 minutes late. 40 minutes is a acceptable amount of time, in my opinion. However, the thing is, now the players are all going to be like, you didn't start at the right time, so I'm not going to show up on time. Like, well, now that's irritating. You should, like, win the game. And as far as I can tell, two players who are admittedly unexperienced with the tournaments are likely to not actually be here. Which is interesting. But I suppose they assumed that they were out of it or gave up. Didn't say anything, but I guess they didn't even check in, so it's my fault for pinging them. Um, okay, so since they are not here, 8064 and Graph, they are also not checked in. Nobody checks announcements. So sad. I made the scuffed bracket, and then it's just nobody checked out. So sad. Shh. Holland and name. One name. Lots of people didn't check in, so I now actually display the bracket. The beautiful bracket. Apparently I missed someone in the bracket. Not surprising, given how tired I am. But well, they assembled in the right teams. Very nice. Very nice. Well, so, uh, Nesmus and Ketcha, as you can see. They were second place in the winners bracket. Did very well. Unfortunately, it always warms my old dead heart to see players that are striving to fix their connection issues. So I am actually told that this is Zhao. I'm not pronouncing that right, or as right as it could be. But we are long since past that dead horse because Crazy Gem is not even close to pronounced correctly. Horse Gem? I don't. I think I've been told what it is. Our players are taking their sweet time getting ready, but that is okay because I'm still managing. Well, the players talking about how their connection might be issues, you're not having issues. Ooh, and we are ready to start. Huzzah, huzzah. And we have Team Red on the left and Team Cyan on the right. I switched the colors accordingly feedback, so very nice. Four ships on the left, the pretty standard fighters. I think we're all familiar with them. And then some heavier ships, deck cannon ships. Lovely red paint, of course being used by Team Cyan. All heading to Alpha, the glorious dance and raucous that will be occurring there. It will be lasting the whole match, I'm sure, but they are taking too long to get there. The melee is in between the four bottom points, very separated, very far away from the top of the map, as you can see over here. That deck cannon ship is going to tear through those fighters and not really care, because it can just tank all of the armor unless it's not being paid attention to and just given a rotate command or a trace command, whatever. Is currently being eaten apart, and as strong as deck cannons are, they cannot deal with being outnumbered so rapidly, which is why allies are lovely green paint. Echo is of course neutralized, very nice. Done from Team Cyan. Team Cyan is also capturing Alpha. Very impressive, not doing anything to resist it. The EMP ships are noticeably useless against this much armor, of course, especially when it's so spaced out against the relevant bits such as the reactor and control. And that is a big problem because until this is dead or at least removed, Alpha is going to remain blue for a long time, and that is a huge cash bonus. Additionally, this brick may actually just be capable of beating these ships given the right circumstance, especially if they get in each other's way, and the EMP is continuing to be wasted on that ship when it could be more helpful down here. Bravo and Echo are captured. I think that might just be it. No, they are contesting this. So currently, this ship and this ship are the only reason Team Red of the left is still in the game. And now it is down to one. Fortunately, as I zoom out the Team Cyan ships, which are red, that's not confusing, are going to be working together to kill that post haste. And it is going to be a problem because, well, I guess the other one's going to go home. They probably, Team Cyan doesn't recognize that that one ship and that one down there are all that's needed if you just remove them to win. Because really, if the other ship had any ammo, it should have been diverted to killing this. Though this may be out of energy soon. Control room's famously slow at consuming it, so it might be a while, but that ship will kill itself if given enough time. Ooh, a very fancy deck cannon ship. Love the eye motif on these ships. It is struggling to be taken down, and it's not winning Bravo, but it is, well, now it is. It's not winning Bravo, but it is holding it, and it is keeping them in the game. I would personally be trying to move it more towards the center, because if it just slips out, that's pretty fatal. Smattering of cyan ships all over the board. The ship either died, yes, it did die, and its sister came in to replace it, and it is going to be following suit. They'll see each other in the afterlife. And it'll be a lovely party. Probably, hopefully. Bravo actually captured, nicely done. They're not in constant immediate danger, but as you can see, total income has a wild 400k difference there, probably more than that. I'm not going to do math live. This ship is managing to last a lot longer than I thought it would, despite having 2 deck cannons behind it. Very impressive, though it could be attributable to the deck cannons not firing on time. Alas, it was not long for this world. 3 cyan ships are all working together to take out that one control room. No ammo left on this ship. It should really be sent home to restock on supplies, since it's basically just flesh. Dead, unmoving flesh over there. This ship is actually dead. The control room says otherwise. Oh, so there's no way to capture this right now. Delta also has to be recaptured. But still, a very impressive lead for Team Cyan. The red ships and green ships. Alpha is extremely captured. I get the sense that Team Red is panicking because the entire board is blue. You can just look at that and see that there's a little bit of red left. Yeah, our ship is going to be removing the dead carcass. It's technically a complete waste of ammo, but they wouldn't know that. It's very frenetic, and it's a exposed target that's showing its rear. However, that ship is also not long for this world, and is probably going to be taken out by the 3 ships that are working together, air quotes, kind of getting in each other's way and such. Bravo still not captured. Team 1 may be toying with them, I'm not sure. A lot of ships just strutting about doing nothing when they could be winning. Mako is drawing something. Might be responding to something on the stream. I see. 2 issues. Well, it's not exactly gonna change much, given how already over. Players still remain not focused on Bravo. Assets on the board is 2.5 million versus 700k. Little bit of a difference. The players are remarking on the fact that crew, actually, if they're still alive and floating around in space, they're still alive and you can't replace them. Because if you did and they flew back to your base, then you would have more crew than you have beds, and that's not okay. That's not okie dokie. The game doesn't like that. So Walt said, I'm not gonna let that happen. So you have to wait for those crew to just die out in space, because they only have about 1 minute of oxygen. Bad planning, if you ask me. But Bravo looking pretty red. I don't think that ship's gonna capture it. No. Very interesting. Still, not focused on capturing the point because there's barely ships in there. That ship, I think, is going to be close enough to the price issue that it's not going to be capturing itself. So it's still contesting this ship, so clearly it's enough. Deck cannons on this ship can't actually all aim at the same target. It's kind of an issue. You want to be killing a given target as quickly as possible, and then moving to a different target. Killing 3 enemies at equal pace lets them fire at you for 3 times longer. Whereas if you kill them sequentially, then they can't fire back as much. Bravo is the place to be. All the ships are going there, except for the ones designated to hold the points. Because of the fog of war, Team Red doesn't actually know what's on these points, so it could be all manner of nasty. But they just don't know. Realize very quickly, can't actually tell which team those are on, because I need not to do so. This one ship holding the line against these other 5. And there we go. It is turning blue at an astounding rate. No reinforcements coming. None of the ships are going to be leaving. And that is it. Took a little bit longer than I was expecting, but we still got there. Name and Hollowan will be moving on. Hollowan and Name. Put them in alphabetical order. Weirdo. Like that. And Walnut and Zamako are knocked out of the tournament. Thank you for coming. I hope you enjoyed your stay. See you next month, probably. I don't. Probably won't be Domination, but you know. A Commandant versus Bioluminescent or Lumi. And at Tapeable. I have to ping the players because they're not paying attention. But that's okay. So we are. Let's see. Yeah, back on the screen. We're at this bottom left match with Eno and Commandant versus Bio and Tapeable. As I mentioned, let's see how long it takes them to get here. Melee 461 and Trout, as well as Eddie 64 and Graph, are probably going to be disqualified since they're not there. They didn't check in. So I assume that they abandoned their post and are not attending, which will speed this up to say the least. Anyhow, it will be the case that and Hanselcat and Sadbox and Yugi, and of course, Nesmus and Ketcha, which I would say were kind of the expected pick, especially with Nesmus winning a tournament previously. All of these people got further in the bracket, so they're placed further in the losers bracket as a reward, of course. So all these people who got knocked out in the first and second round have to claw their way through these scary players. Face Nesmus and Ketcha, and then they face Crazy Gem, Pushium. Pushium is their name. And whoever their partner is. I forget who their partner is. Who is their partner? Pushium and Tony Ye. Or Tony. Or whatever. King is actually alive. That is nice to hear. We are currently waiting on Commandant. The Commandant. Probably butchering that name. But is my special. So, where are they? Let's hope they show up. But hopefully, Shade will be screaming at their partner, as a good teammate should. I'm kind of surprised that people can just walk away from, like, it's so entertaining. How could you possibly not be entertained enough to just leave? It's so sad. You're put on so much, all the interesting games. I mean, after all, that's why we've been staring at the lobby for at least a minute now. That's what everyone tuned into the tournament for. Very exciting, yay! But the players will now be readying up and we will actually get back to the game. So there is an appeal to waiting in the lobby, I would argue, if I was insane. There isn't. We came for the ship combat. What are we waiting for? Come on. Commandant just joined, of course, so they are picking their ships as slowly as possible, I can imagine. Discussing tactics with their teammate, perhaps. Which, gotta be honest, doesn't make any sense to me. Probably should have evaluated your tactics before you got into the. Could be that they have a massive ship library far larger than mine, and they're currently browsing through the ships, perusing their selection, or having Eno Shade give them theirs. Alas. All the settings are still correct. Making sure. Don't want to have that be a problem. Commandant still taking their sweet time. Might have been just on a walk or something. Just turned on Cosmoteer with the laptop. Currently walking to the nearest available chair. I don't know. I guess not. I can't even carry through with the theoreticals. How can you join the game and not be ready? I don't understand. It makes me want to say jokes, but I have two, and I've shared them both already, and neither are good. One is a pun, and the other one just isn't funny. Like, it's so unfunny that it is funny. Finally, we're in the game. Bioluminescence and Tapeable, or Lumi, versus Eno Shade and the Commandant. Tilting the map a little bit so we have blue on the left and orange on the right. Capable and Bioluminescence will be on the left with their blue ships. Eno Shade and Commandant will be orange on the right with their orange ships, or their orange glows. The actual colors of the ships vary wildly. I see we are already having our first batch of lag, just a little bit, just slowing it down a little bit. Very unfortunate. Alpha is the main contested point, capable going rogue in a certain sense. Voting is very big, very expensive ship. Try and get a early kill on that expensive ship was almost successful. Damages the front. Takes a few thrusters and damage for his troubles though. Still dealing a lot of damage, still kicking very well. Not for long with an angle like that. Really don't want to be there. Of course, Alpha is being contested. The same struggle as last time, where a ship was spinning around. Let's hope it doesn't last as painfully long at this time. Control room taken out. It's asymmetric. It's just on the... Okay, well then. Very curious. The center being captured. Interesting. Let's see. Tapeable warp home? Yes, that's a cheap beacon. Iconic in a certain sense. Trying to push the creatively named ship out is, I think, what was going on there. Was unsuccessful. The control room is, of course, asymmetric now that I'm looking at it. And the bitter fight for Alpha will continue. The Pyrrhic fight for Alpha. I'm absolutely sure that the resources poured into contesting it will always take away more than what you will have earned from getting it. But that is the point of the large circle, is that it looks fancy and causes the players to fight. With Eno Shade, there is an interesting tactic you can actually use it with cannons if they're facing sideways. You can preemptively target an opponent such that the deck cannons rotate towards them. Might be directly piloting, they might be directly piloting, so I don't know, but there is ways to work around that. Very micro heavy. Echo actually being a little bit fought over, not neutralized, not contested even. And it is just the two ships dancing. I don't expect them to do anything to each other, so let's just move on. None of the other points are really cared about. Alpha's where it's at. No ships currently defending it. Eno Shade makes the smart move. I'm very proud. They go back to the center to actually contest it, not focusing on the fight. You do have to win the game after all, and you win the game by getting the point or killing your opponent to such a visceral extent that they surrender out of shame and guilt. However, I personally think that you win the game by getting them. Unfortunately, it did not capture it fast enough, and they could not block this tiny ship from getting in, which is what the Cannonling the Third is going to do now. The other ship warps away. Eno Shade kinda needs to give this ship attention, because being at an angle like that in a fight is not... Fortunately, the ship probably didn't have its thrusters ramped up, so it can't get there in time. Commandant is going to be leaving the circle because they can't slow that ship down. More focused on fighting than winning the game. Understandable. There's glory and explosions after all. The two dancers still in their eternal love swan dive. I'm running out of words. Over in Echo. Team Blue on the left, still coming towards Alpha. Everybody wants Alpha. Alpha's the play. I do love the un3, parentheses, the parentheses. It can fire over ally ships. Recent change, deck cannons can fire over ally ships, which leads to interesting engagements like this, which were previously significantly dumber, because you just have like a thin bar of metal that was your ally. It's like, oh, I guess I can't fire over it. I guess it makes a little bit more sense now, though. I mean, only if you... Oh, nice dodge. Unfortunately, even as strong as that ship is, it doesn't matter if you don't give it attention. It's kind of interesting. It's like, you would want... I think at some point you would want to give your ships minor AIs so that they just like do basic attack commands. But no, you have to manually control every single thing that you see on the screen. You tell the ship to do something, it does only that. And it does it as dumbly as possible, typically. Ships will get stuck on asteroids if they are given even the slightest chance. Somehow Echo was solved. Wasn't paying attention. I assume that a third party came in and broke them up. Capable is going to be trying to leverage two of these ships. Unfortunately, deck cannon ships cannot fire over each other because the deck cannon block the deck cannon. They get in the way. So, because of that, they can't double stack with themselves. You can't really double stack with ally large or small cannon ship. Worth keeping in mind. Shade coming in with another triple deck cannon ship. Still, it's very... I have to say it's bizarre. Like, there's so much space for it to rotate the deck cannon the right way forward, but they chose not. He chose not to. I'll have to ask about that. Being slowly pushed out. A bunch of ships are just stuck killing each other as slowly as possible because of the huge amount of armor that they all carry. So then you just like... The fight doesn't actually solve, you just have a third party come in and attack from behind. So who cares about Bravo, Delta, Charlie, and Echo? Because it's just... And it's a direct line. You don't have to worry about everything. Very similar beacon designs where it's just a reactor, control room, crew, and beacon, of course. Kind of surprised that these have thrust at all. Because it's not like it's going to be doing anything. I like this one a little bit more. It looks a little bit more aesthetic, but it is noticeably probably less efficient because you do burn through energy with that, which, I mean, you don't remember to restock it, or no. You do have to buy it again because you can't restock energy. So once it runs out, you just have a dead ship in spawn that would be more expensive to buy another one than to pay for the reactor once. So it's, in a certain sense, a bold statement, assuming that you will win the fight by a certain amount of time. Control room dead. I really think the dead ships without control rooms on need to just melt with no power source on board. Because, like, there's... It would be given the impression that there's a lot more ships than there actually are. Those two are alive, but these two are dead. Somehow bioluminescence gets stuck on the corpse that wasn't moving, that they could also see, because it was theirs. Commandant still flying in circles around, Bio and Capable. Excuse me. Shade, sick of asking, brings in the blunt force trauma solution. It will solve the problem, and you cannot do anything about it, because it is pointing more guns and has more armor. Unless you get behind it with an un3, because that's some amount of rear armor, it's not enough rear armor. Shade and Commandant, the first thing they do is get stuck on each other. Fortunately, Capable, working with the opponents to help them get in a better situation, prevents the flank on Shade's Zibonk. Beautiful name. This is just a world-class affair. Wow, for raucous. They're all having fun. They're all ramming each other, and they can't get out of each other's way. They're just shooting each other. Finally, we get some tactics going on. Ooh, they actually did capture Bravo as well, and Echo. Only now is Commandant deploying a ship to Echo, but his job has already been done. They now have to devote resources to recapturing it. Unless, of course, it stops and they have to capture it too. I probably would have left the ship there for longer, assuming it was being given attention. And it seems the case that despite the similar total incomes, Shade and Commandant have not been nearly as efficient with their ships and currently have less than half, less than a third of their opponent's credits on the field. That ship is all but dead. Like, those deck cannons aren't going to be winning against that. The concentrated firepower and overall efficiency of this ship is very fearsome. I'd say it's probably one of the better ships on the field right now of the options presented. Echo is being held on tooth and nail by the one ship, slowly trying to take it back from the single 2-deck cannon ship. Kind of amusing how for smaller ships, the standard of damage versus defense concentration is kind of inverted. At higher price ranges, it is the case that you will always be capable of breaking through a defense with a given offense because of damage concentration. But here, it just takes a really long time for two ships to kill each other, even if they're firing at each other constantly. Because as you can see, those two ships were dancing for quite a long time. And this ship has been fired upon by 6 large cannons for quite some time now, and is only now starting to have actual problems. And of course, it's flanked anyway, so it didn't matter. Alpha, several ships are just content to be corpses there, because they don't have reactors. Just an asymmetric control room. Very spooky. There still is the 2DC ship. Probably be wanting to head home, not go there, or equip a hyperdrive class. No Shade still throwing ships at the problem, hoping that it will be enough. Is body blocked by his teammate to be prevented from rotating. So much less thrust on this ship, and it's kind of, I think it may be an obvious conclusion, but like the thrust expense of adding these thrusters probably always going to be worth it. On paper. Issue is it takes a lot more energy to micro and use the ship effectively. And if you're just gonna throw ships at the problem, like Shade's been doing, then you want ships like this that take very little attention, have more focus on armor, only the bare necessities. But with the Un-3, if you give it more attention, it's going to be much, much more efficient. Especially when the pilot is actively twisting to prevent the front armor from being breached further. Probably would have wanted to twist sooner, but it doesn't matter when you have more ships coming. Going on up here. Their fight seems to be fine. Being won by Commandant, but it doesn't matter if the point isn't captured. Going back down here, point is going to be neutralized. A Un-3 warps home, very nice. Love to see warp mechanics. Nothing coming in hot. Commandant needs to be paying attention, capturing that point. It's trying to back up with 2 really, really rear thrusters. Barely doing it. All this ship has to do is ram it out of the ring. Echo is back to being captured by Team Blue. Team winner, I suspect. Only 2 minutes to bring it back. Little bit of a fleet difference, little bit of a credit difference in terms of what could be fielded. So, Bravo neutralized. No attempts any of the other points being made. Oh, there I go, being wrong again. Tapeable coming in to prevent Shade from getting anywhere close. Shade clearly lacking in ships because despite this same interaction having happened 4 times now, each with the same result, Shade has no other recourse than to try again and fail again in all likelihood. And Bravo was captured while I wasn't paying attention. So Shade and Commandant have been removed from the tournament. Well done, Bioluminescence and Tapeable. So now we have Slowking and Devochi versus Awa and Alephs. They are up next. So let's see. Dogs. That match was particularly laggy. Not a fan of that. I will be re-recording it, probably recasting it. Oh, maybe not. I might just speed up um the stuff of me talking ever so itty bitty slightly. Excuse me. Versus preface it one. And yes. So as the uninitiated may not know, you can, of course. Why is Minion still? No, that's Evoshi. Ah, yes, this. Oh, and Salos were suffering yesterday. Anyways, you can, of course, there is a log file. You go to your ship's file, then you go back one to your ID, and then you go to logs. And then the rec files record the most recently played match. And then if you open Cosmoteer and click on open in dev mode, and then host a game, there's a button right here that says launch replay. And then you can launch it, then record it. It's typically actually how I do the multiplayer highlights. It's very convenient. Though I do have to say, if you do this, I recommend you have a separate file because the log folder automatically rewrites older rec files after every 10. You have to be quick about it if you don't have a separate file. And past that, the game updating will often break the rec files to varying degrees. Sometimes they just crash the game instantly when you try and run them. Sometimes it just disconnects and the players no longer pilot their ships. It's one of the more slipshod replay features. I'm very envious of something like StarCraft or Brawlhalla, and I hope it gets implemented eventually. But it remains to be seen. So, all four of these players well established within the community, very scary. Ooh, lovely color. Team Pink with Kawa and Salifs on the left. Team... Well, I guess I'm less fond of that one. Team Lime, Slowking and Mint on the right. A ship I don't think that we've seen before, with its paint card, filthy. No respect being given to that. Very cool shape though. The paint card is double deck cannon ship with a focus on defensiveness. 2 deck cannons is not a lot in my opinion, and they could very easily fit 3. So those ships are more about being combative and outlasting their cheaper opponents. They use normal cannons, and they cannot punch up, I would say, unless they're flanking, but they don't have the maneuverability. They're not as fast as they would need to be for punching up. So that is my assessment as someone who doesn't play Domination. Delta neutralized, very impressive. Bravo maybe neutralized next, because Salif's already lost their ship. Ala seems to be in a not good position either. If the ships are indeed for their role as what I said it was, they probably need more side armor, as well as structure to prevent it just from falling off. So let's see if Salifs and Kawa just get knocked out. Salifs respawns there, huh? Okay, so we must watch. Kawa has 400k. Their ship is 750k, their deck cannon rammer, that they love to use. So, it's gonna be quite some time before that occurs. Let's hope that they can survive for long enough. Kawa spawning in a asymmetric diagonal skewed EMP ship. Interesting. Interesting. This is the cheapiest of ships. Kind of surprised it doesn't have an energy storage for how small it is. Maybe two even. However, EMP ship, if used properly, can be more lethal than the deck cannon ship. Of course, not if Kawa pilots it like that. But the thing is, when you have ships that run off of storages exclusively, and then you turn off their control room, you've killed the ship. Which, if we watch here, this ship is dead. It will not be turning back on. The fact that its cannons are firing is a non-issue, I would say. Because they will just run out. Salos. Oof. That was a rough thing to watch. Body blocking from the teammates. Big downside of the nukes is that they are not very super accurate. Let's see. This ship is not dead. Dying because of the energy loss. They managed to... No, Bravo's been not had for a while now. Delta is being contested since this ship is actually alive. These two ships. And I think it could be the case that there is a splitting thing going on. I'm not sure. But Kawa trying to contest this, but is way overshooting. Salif spawning in another deck cannon ship. They better start contesting Delta. Team Slime knows what's up and is coming to capture Delta, knowing that it'll spell instantaneous defeat if they can capture it. Kawa out of EMP missiles, did not pack them properly. They're all half full. Very unfortunate. And oh, Salifs. Salifs. Oh, Salifs. Oh, oh Salifs. Oh, oh, we got stuck on the rock. Oh no. And they're knocked out of the tournament. Salas is gonna be bitter about that one. Probably gonna have to go take a walk. Oh, it hurts. Oh, it hurts. It hurts. As everyone doth, yes, Sal's left. Oh, poor guy. Oh, no. Well played, well played. Slowking and Vochi are meant move on. So, Halloween and Name versus Bio and Tapeable next. Oh. Oh, that's rough. I don't even have words to express my sympathies other than the sad truth that it is unavoidable what occurred. The fog of war, brutal to deal with at times, completely hid the asteroid from view. So let us review the bracket in the meantime. Let us look at it. So, King and Vochi moved on, as you can see. Now, Halloween and Name versus Bio and Tapeable. Bioluminescent or Lumi. I'm not sure what they go by. None of the four players I pinged are here yet. Kind of interesting. I assume that... No, they're all watching. Are they? They might be all watching. I'm not sure. Anyhow. Halloween actually made it very nice. Very nice. One of them. One of the four people necessary. We'll get there. We'll get there. We're not in a hurry. We're fine. Yes, here we go. May as well clear the air while we're waiting in the lobby, since I know these players aren't going to be ready anytime soon. Lumi. Lumi. Excellent name. Big fan of bioluminescence. Bioluminescence is cool, especially since it's blue. Have I told the dear viewers that blue is the best color? Because blue is objectively the best color. In essence, yes. Blue is objectively the best color. Everything I have is blue. My room has a blue wall. My blanket is blue. My bed sheets are blue. My shirt is blue. My phone case is blue. Not enough blue, if you ask me. This planet should be blue. This red, eh. However, I do understand that you need variety, which is what you need variety, which is what pink and purple are for. Anyway, oh, lovely background. Team blue. I got my wish. Team dark blue on the left, I'll just say blue, versus Team cyan on the right. Following the name, very speedy, very scary, spawning in swiftly, versus Team cyan with just the 3 ships, very reserved. We've seen these ships before, we love them, very well piloted. We've seen less of Team dark blue, I think, probably because Tapeable and Lumi are slower at winning. Or they have more lag. Anyhow, Alpha hotly contested. It's always the place to be. All the cool kids hang out at Alpha. And it seems to be the case that it is being largely taken over by Team Cyan very quickly. Very interesting. I would have assumed, or I personally would have considered the tactics of using EMP ships knowing your opponents, because all of those ships that were deployed were battery powered, and EMPs kind of kill batteries. Alpha almost captured, unfortunately contested very quickly. And it will probably be turned about now. The 2 ships that were stationed there are down to 1, and the 1 ship is about to be brutally flanked. Unless the cannons aren't actually forget. Nope, they took too long, and reinforcements have arrived. Alpha is neutralized for both teams. Bravo, however, is neutralized. Oh, bollocks. Of course. It's... We'll catch the... we will catch the match on the highlights. It's fine. It was boring anyways. And we've all seen the beginning of the matches. Probably a demonstration that I'm tired. Body blocking and coming in here. Chip may have been intentionally rotated. Depends on how much attention is being given to a specific instance. Echo neutralized. Not looking good for Team Cyan. Oh, looking better now. Especially if you capture Alpha. That's the first step in redeeming oneself. Let us see. Total income. Pretty equal. Value pretty equal. Credits. Team 2 has a lot more money in the bank. Not sure why they're not spending it. But they have a wicked surprise incoming, should no one notice it. Or should they utilize it as a surprise. But of course, you can always just spawn another on 3. The good, the classic, the useful. Oof. MP phased out. And the un-3 is going to just sit on that point and make it theirs. Until the shark comes in and disagrees. The tiny, itty-bitty ship dealing a lot of damage. If it was targeted, it'd be dealing more. Unfortunately, the random spread of the cannons doesn't do anything. Despite that, despite the un-3 being right there, it captures it just under its nose. Oh, this is painful to watch. Oh, I can't look away. And it runs out of ammo before it even kills it. A fitting end to such a tragic tale. Alpha being hotly contested. The old Spinneroo. I think that Tapeable would want to be ramming that ship if they can give it enough attention to do so, because this orbiting is nice, but you don't kill the opponent, and killing the opponent is probably going to be more important even if you take more damage in the process, because you can start leveraging a numbers advantage. Because, you know, numbers are always fun. Warp's home. Probably gonna get prepared, hopefully repaired. Echo being captured. Lumi not paying attention to what matters. This captures so quickly. So captured. Bravo was taken back. This ship is dead, has no control room, no power. However, the shark, if it was remaining on the point, could have done stuff. However, Hollow One sees prey. Hopefully, this ship will have targeting now. Yes, it does. Cannons are being aimed. Very nice. Unfortunately, it wasn't as distracted as the previous 3 was, so it can't deal as brutal damage for just free, really. The home field advantage for Team Cyan is very quickly being applied here, because you can just respawn and immediately send ships there. It's very difficult for a given team to capture the opposing side's respective adjacent point, because like you can almost if you had missiles you can shoot from one point to the other. Let's look at Bravo. Bravo has an asteroid in the way, so it's much less accessible. Being neutralized, all the ships are busy fighting one another. The deck cannons getting in each other's way. Deck cannons famously very bad at aiming at things. EMPs doing the job that deck cannons couldn't. Really the hero we all needed. Anyhow, moving back to Alpha. A lot of ships going on here. The Un-3 having difficulties focusing on a target. Ideally, if you were piloting it, I would say you ram a ship and carry it away. Or you run away. But I suppose that this one is currently taking the task back for itself. Capable not paying enough attention. Probably, if it was warping away, it probably should have been told to go further away and then warped. I don't know, just preference. These ships are running out of ammo, which is kind of what happens when you pour all of your bullets into armor and then it just does nothing and the ship warps away and repairs. Nukes missed. Not sure where they were used at. The delightful 2xDC 3xC dash 3xC. EMP ships still bullying anything that dares to come near Bravo, which is a very smart tactic. I am very fond of it, because if your opponent is they just keep sending battery ships, then just stationing one of these things out of the way will just kill all of them. Like you're just feeding them into the world's deadliest grinder. I'm very fond of the tactic. I think EMPs are underutilized for how ridiculously effective they are against certain ship types. See, it's happening again. I don't think that they're paying attention and watching what's occurring, because it's about to occur again, assuming these aren't out of ammo. They're out of ammo. Never mind. I was just completely wrong. Never mind. You can overcome the raw strength of EMPs through the raw strength of throwing bodies at the problem. If you throw enough, if you have enough flesh, they'll run out of bullets first. Nuke ship. I think the name may not have noticed that it doesn't actually have ammo, because they took it for multiple jousts and it just didn't do anything each time. Capable of killing that ship functionally, because all the thrusters are deriving of power, and they're gonna turn off and then it's just gonna be stuck there. That's dead ship. Too busy to give it attention though. Bravo very much captured. The Vitruvian. A classic ship, very round. Everyone loves it. Iconic. I love it. Woven armor to boot. Very impressive. Unfortunately, pilots like a brick, a round one of the few round ones, and get stuck on the asteroid. Not as bad as Salus's fumble, but it is going to be able to get out of it. No warp tactics utilized alongside it, so I have to dock points for unoriginality. But the relay is active, so it can warp away whenever it wants to. Warping home from the Un-3. Nice. Bravo being recaptured by Cyan. They're not out of it yet. In fact, I would say they're more in it than their blue team opponents. Let us look at the total income. Pretty similar, but the fleet value tells the story. 600k difference there, no 500k. And more credits to spend for Team 2, which is blue. I, not need to be a better way of determining that. Chip ran out of power, which is what happens when you don't have reactors. Big fan of reactors, they give you infinite energy. I'm pretty sure, canonically, an in-game reactor would last longer producing energy than it would take for the sun to burn out, which is a number so large that our tiny human minds cannot properly comprehend its scale. So, reactor's kind of good. Fusion technology also kind of good. Alpha, they don't even care. They're just throwing more issues, more roadblocks in the way, just to really spite them. Is like, try it. However, Bravo is where it's at, and if you leave it, they're gonna capture it. They're capturing it. Oh, come on, Table Ball. It's not worth it. Oh, no, no, Table Ball. Oh, Table Ball not paying attention to what mattered. It's okay. Look at this mess. It's all over the place. Probably fighting over Charlie. So, Name and Halloween will move on. Halloween Name. Oh, now we have and Hanselcat. Versus and Hanselcat noteworthy for being the previous Domination Tournament winners. Probably one of the higher seeds. Took them a very long time to get knocked out. Hansel asking for a moment. Halloween's still here. Loves the atmosphere, loves my presence. Who wouldn't? Sorry for the overlay. I'm sorry. I beg forgiveness. So let's look at the name the previous match. It was Halloween and Name versus Bio and Table. Yeah. Players in the match before that one I wanted if it's very hard to keep in mind all of the matches you have to retroactively name them. I know. So all of the people are assembled. So let's see. Good luck and fun. And good luck. Positive vibes from And and Hanselcat. Always lovely to see. Slow King and Mint can't even bear a second thought for them. How rude, how uncouth, how barbaric and treacherous of them to not return the favor. Truly the refinement of Team 2, whatever color they shall be, is leagues ahead of Team 1. I hope they forever remember this with great chagrin, as they still continue to not ready. I bet they drink their tea with their pinkies touching the cups even. Truly unacceptable behavior. My. Indeed. Very weird map. Blue in the top right, purple in the bottom left. And then Hanselcat spawning with their much more swarmy ships, lots more of them. Love the red, white, and black paint scheme with gray. Ship is going to be failing to dodge missiles. Fortunately, it does have a reactor, but that doesn't matter when the um other guy's coming in. And yep, MP missiles, baby. Charlie captured. Alpha being fought over because of course. Hands and stone will be brought to kneel by the MPs, I assume. One storage already empty. Thrusters half gone. It can only spin in place. It shall continue to hold the point by being a corpse, however. Nuke ship coming in to deal with the Nagling. And they aim... not true. Aim was off. Unfortunate. Wow. It's all blue, folks. Charlie is being purpleized a little bit. But just looking at this, very, very iffy to look at. On the field, still pretty close. Total income, still pretty close. However, if this advantage is made, that will not remain the case. Those nukes are gonna aim. Unfortunately, they are still not concentrated in the proper angle. Can't warp home. Whoa, look at that reactor, 56 HP. Like 1/800th of its health. Well, 6 more than 1/800th of its health. But it's fine. I can only imagine all the crew that just like break out into a sweat, knowing how close to death they are. As if like all the ships behind them wasn't stressful enough, of course. Yeah, I think that ship needs to be headed home immediately. Like it can fight, but it probably shouldn't be. Probably being contested. Merry spiral, we've seen many a time. This is what happens when you have ships that don't have any amount of side thrust, is that they just spin in circles because they're constantly trying to move towards their opponent. Kind of it's like orbiting mechanically. Ship turns off, runs out of power, kind of drifts away. Fortunately, that distracts the Hanselcat ship, which that's not focused. Focus is the point. And killing that ship, fortunately, doesn't really matter. Nuke ship causing problems. It's... You can, of course, actually go into the spawn of your opponent. It's 8 times worse than being in the rod, kills you very quickly. However, if you're not expecting nukes in your spawn point, then nukes in your spawn point can be a huge problem because they just kind of kill you. It's like, whoa, I just lost a ship. But it was safe in the spawn. You're not safe in the spawn point. You would think you were, but you're not. It's just very rare that you are not safe. And that is Charlie turning blue. Let's see if Team 1 can pay enough attention to it. They spawn in ships, claymores. Nuke ships, those can't capture points. Those can't even contest them. Those are single-use strike ships to remove targets. They are for helping the battlefield, but they do nothing to retain it. And there is nothing to retain the center. Even if those ships were to magically disappear, there's this Dane's life, but it's gonna be dead soon. That was a nice shot. Very crisp. Very clean. Apparently, I wasn't paying enough attention because that ship's dead, that ship's dead. They're wasting ammo on that, buddy. And everything that's not this one and that one are dead. Bravo being captured, not being paid attention to. Rare lapse in attention from blue team. However, being remedied very quickly. Both players noticed this and said that is unacceptable. Dispatch ships probably going to be tag teaming it, ideally. The same ship, different names. Each player's respective naming scheme, I assume. Neither player giving it proper attention to target very quickly. Working together, quote unquote, unfortunately is mostly just Ant doing the work and Hanselcat wasting ammo. Let's move on. Alpha being hotly contested. Drinking game. Whenever Alpha is mentioned, take a drink. You'll be blackout drunk in seconds. Those large cannons, even if they were full of ammo, would not lose in that punching match. I can see the numbers ticking down. And still alive. This ship is also out of ammo. Few shots left, but this ship is out of energy. Truly, the killer of us all was the economy, not the bullets. One can get too familiar with cutting corners, you know. One of those being reactors. The blue tyranny is maintained, enforced, and all that remains is Charlie. And they smell blood in the water. They are sending all they got to Charlie. And you'd think that there would be more attention paid to the one ship, but only just now. Don't. These ships are not maneuverable, and you need to stay inside that ring, buddy. Fortunately, they do. It is actually neutralized, so if the ship dies, they will have a grand total of 20 seconds to take it back. I feel like this is pretty, eh, pretty, pretty, to put this. It's capturing. Going fast as they can, racing, dashing, blitzing, and they're not gonna make it. They are not gonna make that. Oh, there is a contest somewhere else in Alpha. Of course, they will make it. I was wrong. And they flew out. Oh, that's so funny to watch. And in Hanselcat, we'll be moving on. And now, it is time for Headfox and Yugi versus... Let us see. Halloween and name. All the players left accordingly. Very nicely done, gentlemen. Yes, of course. Yugi is streaming at the same time as playing. Which, having done that, it is a little bit difficult. I was also, let's see, I was also running the tournaments when I was playing in my matches, and as one can imagine, it reduces your effectiveness and performance. So I can't recommend it, but fortunately Yugi is only streaming, which is just plus 80 lag or such, plus 80 lag points. Hosting the tournament at the same time is much harder, much more mentally draining, because you have to herd the players, right? And herding the players, they don't read announcements, they don't read passwords. Following the name are coming, of course. We're in no hurry. Following very much wanting to be away from Sad Fox. Yugi appears to be having technical issues. I sympathize most dearly because having been there, they suck. Because it wasn't fun enough last time, let's look at the bracket. As you can see, in the bottom half, we have Sad Fox and Yugi versus Hollow in a Name. And then they shall fight and Hanselcat, and then they shall fight Nuzmus and Ketcha. And the winner of that shall fight Pushim and Tony. And then the winner of that will be the winner of the tournament. Yay! 1, 2, 3, 4, potentially 5 matches. 4 to 5 matches. So, that's that. You know, in all honesty, I thought that today was going to take longer than last week. But, I mean, that's kind of what happens when 3 teams drop out. They were missed. Maybe. But yeah, it just gave gave several players a bye. Interesting. Not sure why you joined if you're just gonna leave. Oh well. And the players are ready. We have Team Dark Blue on the left. I'm sure there's a specific word for that particular shade of blue. What it is, I would not be familiar. And Team Pink on the right. Heavier ships being spawned in for Hollowin and Name. Name saving up some credits. Sad Fox and Yugi going for their traditional swarmy tactics. EMPs from Yugi. Very impressed. Love the EMPs. Love the shape, style, flavor of these ships. Very iconic. You know, I think that true stardom in Cosmoteer is having a recognized style. when you are so good at something that somebody can look at your ship and say, yes, I know who that belongs to. Anyhow, Echo neutralized. Unfortunately, ship's stuck on the rock. You can't see through the fog of war, and rocks hide in the fog of war, always waiting to sink their teeth into the unsuspecting prey. Echo retaken. Let's head back to Alpha, which has been blued. Somehow. I'm not sure how that occurred when both of these ships are right here, which should have been contesting it. The brick living up to its title, having enough armor to outlast any opponent. I would say that the opponent is more efficient, probably, cost to everything wise. But as name so graciously demonstrated here, efficiency is irrelevant in the face of sickening amount of armor. And the downside of EMP presents itself in that if you do not have a sufficient target to shoot at because the opponent is not using battery ships, then it is worse than useless. Ooh, nukes. Painful. Ouchie. Parley being captured. Alpha being neutralized. Delta being contested. Unfortunately, past Alpha being captured. This is the only ship holding it together currently. If it were to disappear and Alpha be instantly captured, then the game is won. For Team Pink. I don't think any ship is going to get to Alpha in time, which means it is most assuredly theirs. And as you can see, the swarmy tactics were not very effective here. Because they were just outmatched by the larger ships. Don't leave it. Don't leave it. Yugi, oh, don't leave the circle. Don't leave it. Okay. Okay. We're good. We're good. I guess Echo is still safe, but it's seen few matches in this very same way. Following with the shark, trying to turn them around so that the cannons can't fire despite not having control or such. Echo being blued. Impressive. Delta is to be fought over next. Deck cannons are good if your opponent makes no course corrections whatsoever. They will hit targets that are moving in a straight line. And if you are a stationary target. Alpha ship, the brick that was holding it abandoned it. Kind of interesting. I think almost everyone has demonstrated tactics of leaving heavy deck cannon ships on points they possess to prevent people from getting back at them, but clearly Name thought that there was more pressing matters and lost Alpha for it. Alas. But dispatched to Delta it is to rain more havoc and bring death and destruction to those who would oppose it. Fortunately, Delta has been made not blue. It's not blue yet. And it shall remain not blue yet. Shall likely be pink. Abandoning Alpha, I suppose that you can't really call it abandoning when the one ship defending it was this. Nuke's not a good thing for holding points. And I was I'm so good at my job. Oh, I'm probably gonna be retreating that ship, sending it home, or continuing to hold the point. What a Chad. That ship is most assuredly dead. Name going to capture Alpha back in the name of the glorious Pink Crusade. Varus, no weapons, exposed reactor, continuing to fight. The most impressive of ships, being a nuisance despite being completely defanged and bleeding out by all accounts. Alpha, of course, being neutralized. Pink still maintains their iron advantage. Fleet value, 1 million difference, or it was 1 million difference for the 1 second I was looking at it. Total income 300k, 250k, 225k. Math. Numbers, I can do. This ship is actually dead. It has no control room. Its control room is offline. Oh, my voice is going. This is typically why you have two casters. Otherwise, one just talks too much. But I'm sure that all the lovely viewers at home cannot get enough of my voice. That's why they tune in and put it up with me. Personality, voice, excellent. Rick, continuing to have its main trait be demonstrated of being composed 90% of armor. Humans are 60% water. Brick is 60% armor. And it is all it needs to be. As you can see, Alpha successfully held in place. Doesn't matter what these other ships care. It's just gonna tank, and it's gonna be fine. No damage. Well, I guess, as I say that, it's lost one thruster. Has a fire or two, but what's not to love? Despite having a massive disadvantage, Blue has stayed in the game for a long time now. It is difficult to deal with the rapid concentration and reconcentration of forces of your opponent. They push where you are weak, and you must pull from where you are strong to try and shore up that weakness. So it's a dance. So even if you have a strict numbers and cost and everything advantage, sometimes you just can't close it out because the opponent is too slippery, as being demonstrated actively constantly. The Delta is captured, despite the fact that there are two deck ships en route. They all have FTL drives. I imagine that they should be using relays more, so that they can rapidly reinforce their uberly slow bricks across the map. They have a relay, but it's at home. I have to wonder, how much does the second one cost? Because it can't be... Surely they can spawn it and just send it like behind the ass. Maybe up here if it needs to be protected. But they got there, so I guess it doesn't matter. And efficient as this ship is, doesn't matter to the deck cannons. Why would you turn around there? We're doing perfectly fine. You were killing it. Both of these ships are... What? I don't follow. Hey, they sure killed that ship, the one with no guns. I sure hope Name knows what he's doing. They're doing... Oh. Alpha being captured. Two ships with no ammo stare each other in the eye, waiting for a quick draw that will never come. Alpha re-pinkened, but Charlie re-bluened. Not for long. That's ships on one. I've seen this one before. It doesn't end well for the one. And you would want to keep the shark on it. Keep the shark on it. They didn't keep the shark on it. Bad Fox reinforcing. There was a ship attacking Echo. To no avail. The rapid reinforcements. The brick returning home. I suppose that's what those other two ships might have been doing. But this one's actively decomposing. So one of them didn't get away. Or it lost its FTL drive. Which, I mean, is the same thing. But regardless. The cannon's looking off into space. Who cares about the massive opponent in front of it when they could be aiming at the rock? Well done, deck cannons. This is... interesting. This is always an interesting matchup because, like, in a numbers game, this ship wins just because of the armor. But when it's flanked, it gets messy. It's complicated, and you can't deal with it, you know? Yugi continues to try and get behind it. Unfortunately, Halloween with the lovely green paint. Love it. Fantastic colors. Monster energy. Remaining, keeping his ally safe. Fortunately, the tragic tale, no ammo, has to face doom and accept it. The blue shall reappear on Charlie yet again. Not sure how it was lost in the first place, but The relay ship. Do we see anything occur from this? I don't want to. I don't want to kill that. I don't want to kill that, guys. I guess it's not important. It's amusing. Relay ships are simultaneously the most and least dangerous ships on the board because they hold their Pandora's box. They hold infinite potential for what could teleport on top of them and ruin your day, but they can't do anything themselves. It's a delightful, delicious paradox of danger that one must be careful when managing, or hopefully not just miss. See, this is the heavy deck cannon ship protocol I was talking about, where if you just leave it on the spot, the opponent just can't deal with it. Like, look at these two ships. They came strutting in thinking they could deal with it, and they couldn't. And now Alpha is still pink because of it. Nicely done, after all. Yeah, not sure how Team Blue is gonna claw their way back into this one. Ouch. That is a numbers difference if ever I have seen one. More money to spend as well. They can throw more things at the board, hoping they stick. I have to wonder how much of the cost is in dead ships. Anytime, guys. They disconnect. Game is disconnected. I'll assume Halloween tries to keep going. I mean, I'm pretty sure Halloween can still do it. It's not gonna be easy. Not gonna be easy. Halloween only has to hold out for a minute, though. Nukes. Love the nukes. And they bounced off the front. The ship, it does have reloads. And presumably the operator crew for the nuke ship are loading the nukes. Like, you want a very concentrated fire. All four nukes in the same spot from the same location. Going in circles like that is probably the worst way to do it if you want the nukes to be effective. But, you know, it's your ship. I don't make any claim about being good at the game. Charlie captured. Of course, as you can see, Low's pink, very large. Delta still being fought over. This ship is going to be very difficult to get through. It has no ammunition, but as one may notice, there's a lot of armor in the way. Yes, Halloween confirming that they're continuing. I don't believe you, because you would have responded sooner if you were not listening to the stream. Or maybe they reached the point where they think, you know, I think I got this. I'm going to start flexing by chatting. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I completely agree with them. 3-1. Team 2 wins. Halloween carries it out. Nicely done. So they should stick around. Stick around. And enhance the cat. Following disconnected. They didn't. I told them to stick around, and then they didn't. Where? Yeah. So, this is the finals. No, that's wrong. This is the semifinals of the losers bracket. And let us see. Let us see. Let us see. It is And and Hanselcat versus Halloween and Name. Once the winner of that, it is Nesmus and Ketcha. Very scary players. Got to second place of the winners bracket. Let us see if they can continue forward. Who continues forward? If Nesmus and Ketcha earn the right to try and strike back at Ushium and Tony. All of the previous players that were knocked out by Pushium and Tony have been eliminated. They did not rise to the challenge to get a second chance at revenge. So truly, Nesmus and Ketcha, who we have not seen today, have the most bones to pick. And in Hanselcat and Hollow in a Name, these teams are not interested in revenge. Not yet. Not yet. They may be, but not yet. That was almost prophetic. And said, wait. I was like, why? That's because Hanselcat was disconnecting. How did they disconnect and not leave the game? Did they just Alt F4? Hanselcat has returned. Very good, very good. It is time. Yes. Aureus. And we are off with the very fast ships from these players. So swift. So sublime. I just kind of want to watch him dance, not focus on any given point. We already know what the general shtick is. Go for alpha, contest the edge points. Ooh, and they are very, very fast. Instantly, chips are being sent to almost all of the points. Alpha being uncontested, actually. I was wrong there. And the first major fight is at Echo. Oh. And it is one back. Blue is maintained. The supremacy of blue. And oof, that is the same fleet value, but it doesn't matter if blue can just get the advantage. Massively overshot that, buddy. It's amusing how sometimes turning around and deburning, which is a very sci-fi concept, is sometimes applicable because the Space Dragon Cosmoteer isn't enough. The soup nebula that we dwell in does not have enough stopping power. Bravo. One claim to fame for Team Orange. Following in name, they did good last match. Fortunately, the refreshing reset of Hanselcat seems to have really given them a boon of strength. It seems as though their previous opponents offered more of a challenge to them. Because already, Bravo being lost. And I'm not sure what they're doing. It's gonna be repaired, but like, where did Team Orange go? This is a very nice demonstration of the huge advantage that speed brings. The swiftness and brutal speed and agility demonstrated by Team 1 in the deep blue really shows that if you can just fly circles around your opponent, which takes micro, of course, but you know, also takes being faster, it has magnificent boons to reap. Delta and Echo not even being paid attention to anymore. Alpha, there's the idea of contesting it, but that one ship isn't gonna win. It's kind of amusing. You send a ship for scouting info, then you forget to check, and then you like the ship is dead, so then you need to recheck it again. To its credit, the ship is holding on, and it is still fighting. Don't want to be in front of it though. Dead now. Oof, Bravo, de-oranged. Neutralized though. Delta de-blued as well as Echo. No, Echo's turning blue. That other ship is too close to the price low end. Delta captured by Orange. Very nice. Pulling some of it back. Holding it together. But not yet pushing back. Asteroid. Always funny. Always funny. Name introducing Hanselcat to one of their favorite games, known as I have more armor than you. As well as ammo. Or better logistics, anyway. Wow, Delta got busy while I was going. 3 ships, none of them capturing. Now, here we go. Echo, the ship is too small. It just can't do anything. The second one, though, that can do something. Delta neutralized, Echo contested. Name continuing to play more of their favorite game. There you go. Delicious. The other one. Slowly lumbering into place. Turning to face the oncoming issues, aggressors. Unfortunately, the deck cannons didn't actually do much. And those are going to be the only free shots that they get. Because as you can see now, they're going in circles. And flanking and causing problems. And cutting through the side armor. Run out pretty quickly when it's being constantly battered. Echo and Delta fully captured. Charlie and Bravo fully captured. Alpha is, as it always is, a party. A rave, really. Mosh pit at points. Not anymore, unless corpses count, but I don't think so. Leaves, oof. Kinda needed support there. I hope it's worth it for repairing the ship. May want to get a relay over here to teleport back and forth quicker. Because once that ship goes, it is full blue land. Oh, no was. Oof, EMP ships. Bad to worse. Whenever you see one of these on the fields and your resounding strategy is battery ships, oh, you are 1 foot in the grave. That ship is dead. Oh, it's so dead. And yeah, that blue got it. And then Hanselcat will be moving on. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Alrighty, it is time. Please be here, please be here, please be here. Chat? Let's hope they're paying attention. Please, I beg you, be paying attention. Don't disappear. Alright. Look at the bracket. Bracket is up. Don't forget the bracket. The bracket is up. Catch a yes. Nicely done. You have joined. Making and drawing. Cancel. Wow, that was a fast restart. There you go. And now you can look at the lovely bracket, edited myself, in case it wasn't exceedingly obvious from the shoddy quality. But yes, Crazy Pushium. I've thought of them as Crazy Jim so long in my mind. Pushium and Tony Ye, are the winners bracket finalists. So whoever wins this is the winner of the losers bracket and gets to face them. And if they beat them, they get to face them again. And then that is the final round. Pushium and Tony only need to win once against the winners of this match. And then they are home free and get the reward. And they're so happy about it. Yay! Cancel Cat having all manner of fun, really. Waiting on Hansel Cat lastly. I'm turning the bracket off because I remembered. I am a competent person and I remember to do things that don't ruin the stream. We are ready to go. I don't know if you tell, but I just clapped. I'm so excited. Oof, that's some lag. Oh, lime, green. I don't, is that lime? I don't know. Lime is more electric. A very healthy vegetable green on the left. I'm just gonna say green. Versus the deep, elegant blue at the right. EMPs spawned early. Nuzmus, definitely a believer in the rich tactics of using EMPs. Not gonna work on the deck cannon ships though. Oof, stuck on the rock. Ooh, early death from that scout ship. And this is interesting. I'm not sure how well it's if you don't pilot it goes one way. That's how it goes. I was gonna remark on the shield and how it hasn't been seen, but nicely done. Safely defending the other ships, but not contesting Alpha whatsoever. The Chimera, sadly, is very gimmicky, and it just can't compete with the raw efficiency of deck cannons, as I think I talked about last time. The Fortress is exactly what it needs to be, though. It just needed to be on the point more. Nesmus spawning in another Chimera to hopefully take back Alpha, rip it from their grasp. The IC-4 from Ketcha doing a fantastic job of capturing points. Loving it thus far. Kind of the mascot of the team, really. And it is going to be, well, they could have killed that ship very easily. Boost ran out, so now it's in a little bit of a pickle. Can't outrun 3 ships at once if they're all angling towards it. The Fortress doing what it does. Of sitting there and looking scary. Turn, 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 turn. Oh, there goes the mascot. Vapid as they come. Gone from one's memory as soon as they stop being entertaining. And that is not a good position to be in. You're not taking damage, but you're not being efficient either. You want to be proactive. You want to be killing stuff. And if you're spinning, you're not killing stuff. However, I suppose I hadn't considered that you need to remain spinning, otherwise your opponent that is behind you is now going to have a clear line of fire. Oh. Nukes. Hitting that ship as well as they could. Oh, it's stuck on. Oh. Chimera struggling to fight off multiple ships. The deck cannon too slow, the nukes too inaccurate. It should probably be warping home or retreating, in all honesty, with that massive gap in the side, and it loses its control room. It is dead. Another Chimera, though. I love the ship. I just have to question the effectiveness, especially when this fortress has just remained here and really just delivered on the punishment for the longest time. Got off of the rock? Yes, yes it did, finally. And let's ungreenify Delta. Let's dodge the nukes, because ships this slow can still do that if you maintain... Oh! We're fine. It's fine. No, I'm not missing my entire bottom torso. Left half of my torso. Oof, another dead Chimera. I hope they're quick learners, because this is an important lesson that they need to get. Oh, it was so close to being captured. The points, man. I think I need a domination expert to explain to me that the points aren't worthwhile, because it just hurts to see them not get the points every time. Unfortunately, ooh, warping home. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Ta-da! Love warping. Warping's so cool. Underrated feature. Unfortunately, warping, if not used offensively, is probably not going to help get Charlie, Echo, Bravo, or Alpha. Okay, I love Hansel Cat sharking with these things. It's just a constant way to remove attention, to take up attention. And it's so fast, and it can just get where it needs to go and cause problems. It's rapid support anywhere, and it's completely emblematic of Hansel Cat's strategies of just being omnipresent with lots of ships at once. And I'm constantly impressed by it. I love it to death. Bravo being conducted, very nice. A lot of green ships just in the center chilling, having a nice time. Tea party, really. Don't have to worry about any side threats. Love the spinner. The reason that this is a spinner is because it makes the armor more effective. Unfortunately, nukes kind of spread the damage really well, so it isn't as good against nukes. But functionally, the spinning makes it so it can last in its position without being harassed, or harassed as easily. You may have noticed that throughout the game, there have been a lot of these nuke ships sent to kill it. I guess that the hyperdrive beacons might be more expensive than I think. And they still don't get it. Still has a control room. Should be repaired before it runs out of energy. All of... What? Okay, for a second I thought it was shrinking. It's like all of those ships are dead? And they are. Those two black ones were the only things alive there. All these... I'm sure in the fog of war it's just red dots. It's like they're just garbage. Like they're just useless information. Oh, they were on a mission to capture Delta. Capturing it they are. Very nice, very nice. However, Fortress has come to take Alpha back by 4. One of 2. One of 3. Fortunately, this one is out of thrusters and is having a little bit of a itty bitty problem. No longer problem does it have. However, the Savior is now in the same position as the Saved. Or it was. That is a problematic chain to continue. Spinner somehow made it all the way over there. Not sure how, but interesting. I think I remembered mentioning this yesterday, of how the fortresses are very good at lasting, but they don't have quite enough ammo, because this one probably needs to warp home period, because like the thruster damage. Probably use longer extended armor. But warp home. Should warp home. Needs to warp home because it doesn't have ammo, right? And don't disconnect. And didn't listen. I assume Hansel can't is going to continue. Because they're still moving ships around. They can probably win it. It's going to be difficult, don't get me wrong, but 3 minutes. Guys, well, let's look at the numbers. Everyone loves the number. 200k did no. They have more now. Total whoa, that is a story though. 1 million credit in, income inequality. That's 80 beta cannon ships. If you can't batter through the front of the fortresses, surround them from all sides. You can't avoid being flanked when every direction is more metal. Delta being captured. Hanselcat playing out all the stops. If anything, Ants might have been holding their teammate back. They seem to be winning this harder now. It is worth noting that a single player does have more ability to do stuff if they can rise to the occasion, because they are now making twice as much money. They are, assuming that their piloting and microing keeps up with it, twice as effective now. Those nukes were not aimed. Or they were not aimed at the right target. Charlie being captured. 5 ships coming to take on this Telkin. The Telkin was not sufficient to deal with the given threat, and it is dead. The fortress. That's closer. Stuck on the rock, that poor ship. Fortress is going to keep Delta white, gray at least, instead of green. Probably won't be turning it blue anytime soon. Minute and a half. I think it's probably safe to call it. They've been wrong before. It's very interesting that despite the massive income inequality, Team Blue has remained just as vicious and effective the entire time. They have burned through more of the opponent's ships, and throwing ships at the problem has worked, but it has been expensive, and that is delightful. Charlie, unfortunately, is very distracted. The ships are largely dispatched, but the thing is, you need to focus on getting in the circle. You need to kill them from the circle. Or push them to the circle and kill them there. Elkin probably is being harassed by cannon ships, not going to outrun them, has to face them. And they can't face him because it'll be flanked. What a rough position to be in. Can't do anything to get away, can't do anything to win. Oh, it's brutal to watch. Fortress being ripped apart ever so slightly, ever so slowly. Really has to retreat home. One of these two ships should be assigned to attack the reactor in my opinion, but they're more focused on killing this, which I suppose makes sense. It's closer to fully operational. Delta turning blue. Interesting. Interesting. The stones coming in from Hanselcat, though them being called and was incorrect. Just to cause more problems, prevent Charlie from being captured. You don't need to win a point if you have an advantage. You just have to prevent your opponent from getting it. You don't have to win, you just have to not lose while you have an advantage, and then you win. As you can see. Hanselcat will be moving on. Maybe without their partner Ant. Very impressive, very impressive. Lovely game, fantastic. So, it's not updated. Save. So as you can see, and Hanselcat are the winners of the losers bracket. Nicely done. And we rejoined the winners bracket just at the end of it because who wants to look at the rest of it? And Crazy Gem, Push Yum, Push Yum, Push Yum and Tony A, or just Tony, are the finalists of the winners bracket. So End and Hanselcat have to win twice to win the tournament. Push Yum and Tony only once. Let's see what occurs when... Oh, they're already all here. Nice. Let's see what occurs when the game starts. That's not the right thing. There we go. I'm told by Yugi that Hansel dislikes using auto-orbiting because he manuals better. I feel like that's kind of obvious. Everyone using direct control will pilot their ship better. I was under the impression that auto-orbiting was for sake of keeping your hands free. Because, like, yes, you can drive your ship in circles, but why drive your ship in circles when the ship can drive itself in circles? That's my understanding. More kind words. So nice, so kind. Let's, well, let's get to the bloody butchery, because that's what we're all here for. The kind words are meaningless in the face of slaughter. I'm not sure who I would bet on. Usually, I have a team in my mind that I bet on. Would be betting on. Just to keep it interesting. Yeah. But with these two teams, I'd feel nervous either way. I think this can go either way. Oh, and it will be visceral. it will be crunchy. And I can't wait. One might even say Falernian, but that's an esoteric word if ever there was one. Ah, I have missed the yellow and black paint of Pushium and Tony's team. And it is everywhere, all over the place. The mosh pit of Alpha returning to its glory. Bravo being disrupted. Kind of the same ship of the... I'm not going to read that. And the Octane doing the same thing and fighting with each other. Very curious. Alpha seems to be being purple. Well, oh, I was wrong. There's 5 blue ships coming in. One of them dispatched to defend Charlie. Let's look over at Echo. So it is more of the same. It's just like, it's the same ships being used in the same ways, which I think is indicative of the sheer skill of these players. They have maximized their ships, they've found the most effective strategy, and they are using it to beat each other to death, because they know it is the most effective strategy. What is this? Wait, what? Oh, I see, I see. This is a capping ship. It exists to just sit on the point and make it theirs. Alright. Surely for one player to just continue. 8 minutes left. A minute, 3 minutes. Those are good with a distinct advantage. One player fighting 2 with like 8 minutes left. That's not fair. Hansel, there might have been some validity about Hansel Cat wanting to do it by themselves. Truly, a different caliber of player that we're dealing with here. Kinda scary, though. May not be good for morale to be saying such things in front of your teammate. Okay, so Team Cyan on the left of the disconnectors, and Team Orange on the right of the... Oh, I was right. Team Orange on the right of the disconnectors, and Team Cyan on the left with the black and gold ships. I don't know if it's gold, but it's yellow and it's close enough. Doing the same thing, maintaining the mosh pit of Alpha. Not as aggressive. That is because the map is so much more spread out. Previously, all of the points were very clustered, and the bottom half of the map was useless. Now, it is just kind of a straight shot. You go straight to Alpha. Yeah, you just send ships straight there, and they contribute to the fight. Rather than having to meander around asteroids to get to specific locations. EMP ship probably already extracting ridiculous value. That is a dead ship. Very dead ship. They, Team Orange is gonna need to do something about this. Otherwise, it's just gonna hurt more and more and more as it's on the battlefield. No, Team Blue. Team Blue needs to deal with this. Because this will bleed them out. Especially given how reliant their tactics have been on batteries thus far. As we can see, there's been a switch in convention. My voice is going out. There's been a switch in convention to deck cannon ships with heavy armor, more resistant EMPs, largely completely ignoring it. as opposed to battery ships, probably because of the ship's sheer presence alone, which should be telling to how ridiculously effective it is under the right circumstances and under the right control. Beautiful paint. Love it. Gives it sufficient credit to how properly fearsome it is. Flanked from 3 sides, never a good position. Uh, Alpha. Continue to be fine. The ship just sitting in the center. It doesn't have a care in the world. I'll just aim my deck cannons. I don't need to bring myself to them. The EMP ship, still not going to be effective. If anything, I'd head home and refit it with nukes or missiles. Because that's something you can do in Domination. All you have to do is reassign the storages. It's very easy, actually. You have to reassign the storages and just refill the storages by buying new ammo. And suddenly you have a completely different function for the ship. Like the flexibility of EMP missiles and missiles being modular like that is a huge bonus that I don't think anyone has tapped, like, at all yet. Like, I'm sure there's theory crafting and whatever, but clearly players didn't think it was a good enough tactic to warrant practicing and bringing it to a tournament. Hence why we haven't seen it. But I think it should be seen. I think it's great. Anyway, Team Orange ekes out a slight advantage over Team Cyan. 2 neutral points, 2 orange points, 1 cyan point. Ah yes, this is the Micro Incarnate. This ship is designed to be given your full focus and told to get behind enemies and rip them apart with your 1 deck cannon. So it's the perfect flanker, exists to be direct controlled. It is the opposite of a brawler. It is this very specialist, as you can see from the way it was fighting there. Harley recaptured for Cyan. Continuing to demonstrate that the EMPs are useless, this massive ship has to run because because the EMPs just don't do anything. And it is likely searching for new prey. Because it's on the field. Yeah, because it's on the field, they're not going to spawn battery ships. So its sheer presence is just that frightening, which is very impressive. Interestingly, I don't think either of these teams are using FTL drives at all, which is very interesting to me. They have remained with very conventional tactics, not experimenting, because there's always the argument for the tried and true consistency. If it works, then why do you need to switch? If it ain't broken, don't fix it. Which probably explains their supremacy throughout the tournament and within the communities. Even I, a person who doesn't really play Cosmoteer much, and definitely doesn't play Domination, has heard of their reputations. And they've been completely justified seeing this nonsense firsthand. Oof. MP is gonna work on that ship. No armor. Huh. I was thinking, no, I had bikes. Conventionally, no armor. At least by comparison to a lot of these alternatives that have... They're just coated, dripping with it. They're just dipped in metal, and then dipped in metal again, like a gobstopper of steel. Nice. Does the deck virus ship not great if you don't micro it. And there's a lot going on the map, as you can see. 4 of the 5 points being disconnected. but it doesn't matter. Let's see where push him is. Hansel cat. Oh, leaves, disconnects, sorry. Ooh. So team orange on the left versus team yellow on the right. Unfortunately, disconnects do give people a chance to adjust their tactics, which has existed in the past. So I expect more battery ships or less battery ships accordingly. Like much more or much less. And as we can see, And has demonstrated that they want more EMP missiles. They think it's great fun. The two Tomahawks, Maybachs, all very weak to EMP missiles, assuming that you ever get into range. Nukes. Doesn't kill it, but functionally, it's not long for that world. Yeah, there it goes. Delta and Charlie neutralized. Charlie captured. Alpha being probably won't, because it just truly 15 place. I think it got EMP'd and was trying to regenerate his thrusters. Alpha captured, most likely. The other ship can't even do anything to fight it off. I think it's using... No, it's using large cannons too. Less armor though, so it's not going to be dealing as much damage. How is this even closer than the last one? That's interesting. They and Hansel Cat always seem to keep the cannon fighters in the fight, despite the fact that they don't really typically do things to these ships. And it's curious, I kind of want to do an interview, because just to explain like the tactics, it's very interesting. And you know, as a competitive player, I'm interested in all things Cosmoteer and competitive, but I'm not in the know for Domination. Break! Break! Bravo likely being captured. Nothing on the field for orange is large enough to take that down by itself. That's a dead ship. Let's hope Hansel Cat comes and sees it. Well, I guess anything can kill the other thing if it gets behind it. Ooh, Lucan time. My favorite part of this match was when Hansel Cat said his time and all over the place. See, that was effective. He slowed down. I don't know. Slowed down, launched all the nukes, concentrated, did brutal damage. That ship is functionally dead. Spinning. Spinning's a cool trick. Another dance. Ooh, that came close. This point will remain yellow, I think. Because like this ship can't kill the other one. Especially with this other ship coming in to help. The spinning was not a good enough trick. Alpha still a hotly contested zone. Come pay a visit to Resort Alpha. There's constant explosions. If you're lucky, you'll make it out with all of your limbs. No room cost. For some reason, there's red stains all over the place. I think these ships have diagonal attack angles by default as well. Oof. Low rotation cannons. Lancing blow with the nukes. Having only two typically doesn't breach the armor enough. You need more than two, you know? Oh, pointing the right way. I can give it that much, but that so cat's used to this and knows that they can just fly it around sometimes. So it still remains pretty even. Orange being orange, kind of a problem. This capping ship is very interesting. Issue is that once his thrusters are gone and you push it out, it's just dead. Can't do anything but be in the way. And I guess a friendly ship could push it back in. Like, that's a lot of armor money that could have been on another ship that is now just out in space. There's some pretty nice new realized echo. Bravo. Yellow. Bring it back. Onion Museum. Very nice. Still can't get the center because there's still issues there. Pencil Cat trying this strategy again. Seems like it'll be a lot more effective this time. Running out of power. You only... you just need to keep throwing bodies until they run out of resources, apparently. Been there. Tried and true strategy. I tell you what, I think I'd much rather be a crew member on one of Pushium's and Tony's ships than one of and Hansel Cat's ships. They go through a lot more people. Like, probably by a factor of 3. You could probably count. Post the replay and somebody can count. Interesting. Do it myself because that's tedious and dumb, but you could probably count how many crew were lost on each side. Roughly. Leave it. Nice. Orange kind of just devoting all their resources to maintaining the center. They got Delta though. Have to give them that much. Let's see. Um. hmm. I think at this point it's kind of. I feel like they've won several times now. Pushim and Tony, that is. Oh. This is like the 5th match. For what's supposed to be a best of 1. Best of 3. Kind of best of 2 in a certain sense. Okie dokie, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. And it always works. They can't stand the cooking noise. Ooh, Crimson. We haven't seen that today. Crimson versus Cyan. I wonder what of these matches I should record. Because, like, I can record all of them. They've all been kind of laggy. All been kind of similar. And all end in a disconnect. Oh, and, well, at least you're gonna make it easy. I swear, if Hansel pulls this off, I think I'm just gonna give the tournament to them. Single player wins against 2 repeatedly. That'd be dumb. It's far more impressive than getting through the winner's bracket. It's such a shame that I'm so far on like the wrong side of the planet, like completely opposite to the majority of the players that are being hosted here. I'm interested. I've been looking for a European or well, Europe, yeah, whatever. Someone that's not West Coast America to be a host for a better general connection. Presumably, it will be significantly better for such arrangements. Three ships all going after the raid. Seen this dance. Doing a good job of keeping them from being not behind it, though. Had practice at this point. Training session for how to beat them. Both teams, though. Both teams. Plays both ways. If you're playing properly, I would say, then every match is like grinding against a whetstone. In that you are getting better even when you lose, especially when you lose. Not to say they've lost, but Hansel Cat not keeping up super well. Has a lot of credit. Well, has some credits to work with. A lot of fleet value difference. Yeah, the swarm tactics fall apart when you can't maintain the swarm because you don't have a partner to share the micro load. And the deck cannon ships just like continue to extract value, take out two, one, two, three different other ships from your swarm because like they just don't care. Charlie probably gonna be captured. Alpha, don't think it's gonna be neutralized. It may be neutralized. Echo captured. Delta was neutralized. There's that much, but it's not gonna be captured. Unfortunately, Tony and Pushim are very much gonna capture it because they're good players, or I'm going to eat my shoe if they don't capture Delta. Just leave a ship there, please. Okay, okay. We cool. We cool. What is the last hurrah? Fantastic. Fantastic. Truly, if Tony and Pushim had any honor, they would forfeit. Well, I'm glad that Hansel Cat can take it with a smile. It's unfortunate the hands that their team was dealt, but they made the best of it. It's all you can hope for, really. I'm going to say that Tony and Pushim are this tournament's winners. And let's see. I'm tired, so my mind is kind of drifting or whatever. So you can see the bracket. Thank you for coming, darling participants, dear viewers. I appreciate all of you attending and hope to see you for the next event. It'll be on the 19th and 26th of August. Remains to be seen what the details are. Maybe Domination. I don't know yet. It remains to be seen. It's gonna be great.